We'll come back to the discussion about Klondike bars later. Did a new goblin spawn?
Yep.
There are newer goblins.
Yep.
God damn it.
The Repelling Goblin is new.
And so's the little observer lounge up here.
Well, with the three, yeah.
And what's this? in
The three
corner?
goblins.
Could have been two and made it like the Muppets.
We have
The old guys in the
Spider-Man
balcony.
in the corner as well, apparently. Looking out from around the tower.
What corner?
Top left.
Oh,
That's Raziel. He's been there for ages.
I think that's been there for a while.
Yeah, he's been there for ages.
I just noticed him. Alright, so, aside from
because-
defacing my title screen, how are you guys? How is everyone?
Alive.
That's tell ya.
We live.
For now. Oh, speaking of alive.
Speaking of alive.
So- Okay, last week, y'all done fucked up and had a slight issue going in the front door.
Yeah.
Ez nearly died. And then the rest of you did the smart thing, which was to GTFO and try the side door. Unfortunately, in the process of discovering the side door, you found a couple of hill tribesmen and attempted to deceive them. Which,
Yeah,
you're
that
not sure if that worked quite well or not, but it seems that the intentions of the hillmen were nefarious the whole time. And so we come back to that scene with Haraga and Reister on the inside.
And
trying to
Haraga just having yeened out.
Yeah. Let me just bring you all over here. So, the rest of you are outside.
Mm.
And I just realised I don't have Dennis's updated character sheet. Or did he update his sheet on here?
I'm fairly. I would bet money that he probably did it on D&D Beyond and
It
not
looks like he did
necessarily in
update this
Roll20.
one. Oh. No, he didn't. Oh well, we'll work with what I've got. So,
Oh,
First off,
really?
let's fix up the music, shall we? There we are. So, y'all rolled initiative. We have Ez, Reister, Zabornak, Haraga. We need an Icy in there, and we need an Arena.
And we need me.
Oh yes, and Samara and Elaine. Which,
Yeah.
by the way, thanks for making me puppet the two of those last week. Wasn't awkward at all. I
Look,
have
it
kept
could be
track of
worse.
your spell usage. Oh no, wait, you had a long rest before that. Never mind, you had a long rest. You're good. So let's sort this. So, first off, no one outside. You know what?
No
Actually, Haraga,
One of
did you howl? Remind me, did you howl or not when you transformed?
She specifically tried to give out an intimidating roar to scare them off of her.
Yep.
Alright. Let me do something real quick.
She wants them to be wet in their pants.
Yeah, Red got a little bit surprised.
So, Samara, you heard the animalistic howl of your beloved from the inside. Now, you do
Samara
know that
drew-
going in this door over here, y'all got blown up several times and Ez nearly died. So you are not going in that door again.
Okay. So I'm guessing the side entrance is this way.
This is the side entrance,
Yep.
yes.
So you go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Didn't they
Right.
intend to stack up on behind that corner anyway? I'm sorry if I'm interrupting,
Yeah, the
but I'm
plan
fairly
was
certain that
The plan originally was that you and Haraga were going to attempt to lure them outside so they could ambush them. It appears
Yep.
now the ambush has gone wrong.
You get there, and she's gonna thorn whip this lad up here.
Okay, do it with advantage because he's currently looking back inside after he heard the howl.
Okay, so
He's
I need to
also
make a
charmed by Reister.
So I need to make a melee attack.
Mm-hmm.
Melee spell attack.
He's charmed by
So-
Reister, yes. So I should mark that. You just-
I use 14. Or advantage, sorry, I'll roll again. 15.
Okay. Just let me quickly... Where's the little heart icon? Oh, well, we'll do this because you're all about to break his little heart anyway.
Yeah. He's gonna be hot.
That will hit.
Okay, and for my bonus action, I'm going to include one of her necrotic energy d10s.
Okay.
Better.
So you're
And that is her
gonna
turn.
do your damage for the scimitar there?
I did, it was a 1.
Okay, so it's 11 points of
It
damage.
was
on-
thorn whip. And as part of her action, she drops her usual glamour to reveal her true face.
Okay. That's good. Good.
That is her turn.
Alrighty then. Next up is Irina, who's going to swear ever so slightly. Shuffle past you, going 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's as far as she can go. She's going to use her Crimson Right to give herself electricity. So that is... Is it still 1d4 or is it more now that she's a higher level? It's 1d6 even. It's a good thing I checked. So we'll do 1d6 for Arina. She takes 4 damage, and her lightning is now crackling up the blade. So 1, 2, 3, 4 damage. And that was her bonus action. She has no ranged attacks except the Guiding Bolt. But she wants to hold on to her spells, so she's gonna wait. So, that's Irina's turn for now. I have too many tabs open, oh my god. I say, would you like to work out your frustrations on this, barbarian looking fellow? I think you're muted, darling. Oh, no, you're not.
Down with the mic.
Hello.
There we
God damn
are.
it.
Now we can hear him.
Oh yeah, I hadn't lost the receipt. Actually, think I might be good. Just have to wait till next check. Good. Okay. There's my sheet. It can. Hmm. A little low, but okay. And I'm
Okay.
a second.
If that's at first level, you get to do 3 of them.
So it's one more dart for each slot above. So I'm actually going to cast it at level 5.
Oh,
So-
Jesus!
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should be
Okay, so that is
7.
10, 18, 20, 23. Yep,
I
23
think-
points of damage.
So 3, and then second level, third level, fourth level, one more.
Okay.
Well,
What did I say that was? 23 to 26. So, now I'm just going to do that. So just a just a riot of bright sparkles just slam into his chest. He's like, oh. He looks very confused, and he starts to gather himself. He's reaching for his weapon. Sir Lane.
Lane's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. He's going to go, I'd advise you stand down and get out of our way.
Are you attempting
And
to
he's
intimidate
going
him?
to... Yes, he is.
Okay, that'll be your action. Roll intimidation. Alright, let's just see. Just in the off chance. Nah, he rolled a 4. He looks terrified and he is bleeding from several wounds on the chest. So he just drops his sword and holds up his hand, looking around the rail at the lot of you.
Good boy. And that's all Lane can do.
Okay. Next up is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. She's going to move here. She has her counter to go, looks, sees he's cowering. It's like, so what? Are we not killing him?
I don't know if there's any need to.
You're no fun, darling. She is going to do the Crimson Rite and light up her Kapesh. She does 6 points of damage to herself. I've ever told you I don't like the Roll20 interface. It's so clunky. Alright. For the character sheets. Next up, Haraga. You're in a bit of a sticky situation.
Yes. And Haraga, which one of these
Nope.
people grabbed her?
Red.
Red.
Red?
Red appears to be the leader.
Yep.
He is wearing better armor than the others, and he also has himself a shield, which he's now like
Okay.
struggling to get off his back and bring in front of him now, seeing what you are.
She is going to attempt to... I'm not sure what the mechanic for this would be. She's pissed. She's wanting to scare them, so she's not just going to try to do an attack. She's going to try to visibly and catastrophically mess him up so that she can scare the others. I don't know, like, her attacks, she's going to overdo her attacks, and I'm going to have to do a thing. I'm looking for it on the sheet to find it. So, there's that.
Okay.
There's that. So she's raging out, roaring. She's gonna, I guess that means I get to do 3 attacks. 2 is a regular, 1 is a bonus.
Yeah.
And that's about to go down. Except, I can't find her bite and claw attacks. They're just listed as unarmed strike.
Yeah,
So-
use those. If you're on the
Okay.
Roll20 sheet, then use that.
Yes. 1,
That'll hit.
2,
That'll hit.
3.
That one will miss. Okay. So
Okay.
click on your roll here now on the right hand side and Roll20. There you are, you got
Oh,
it.
whoops.
So that's 1 damage. 2 damage. So that is 10, 16 points of damage to this guy.
And do I have to roll anything for her visible efforts to try to intimidate everybody? And while she's fucking this guy up, she's putting on a show or performance or anything
Roll
like that.
performance.
Because it's to scare them. Come on, Haraga.
Okay, we'll take that into consideration in a moment. But right now, I have to do
Yeah.
some quick math.
And roaring the whole time.
It's
Just
not
roaring.
that amount.
Big hyena whoops.
Okay, and that's you.
Yep, that is it.
Reister, you are halfway to being bound and tied up by these 3 people who have their hands on you. What are you gonna do? You're muted there, Cork.
In order to avoid being tangled up by them and completely forgetting that I need to unmute myself, Reister is actually going to... Is it? Which one is it? No, that's not it. Sorry. I would... oh, hang on. Yeah, okay. He's using his... He's using his fast hands to try to avoid being tied up.
That's to you
That,
to make her use an object. Yeah, you know what? Sure, that'll do. You
I mean,
use
as
your
light a
language.
hand.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was going to object to it, but then I read the last line. So yeah, you should be fine. You can basically slim hand jim your way out of this rope. So you're managed to free your hands. Oh, hi, Lucy.
yeah. Spitting out the gag. I would say that's almost a free action.
Spit out the gag would be free action, yes.
Yeah. Well, in this case, I mean, just so that I have all the abilities to myself. You know what? Green Boy gets a little bit of a pokey poke. $15.
That will hit.
1 second. 7 points of piercing.
That was on green. Okay.
Yep.
Anything else?
Because I have 2 weapon fighting, I'm going to take a dagger with my stab him with the dagger with my other hand,
22 will hit.
and completely miss apparently
Wait,
because I hit for 0.
you have a minus
So
1
I-
to your strength? 1d4 minus
Daggers
1,
should
and
be-
you rolled a
Yeah.
1? That should be at
Yeah.
least a
Say
minimum
dagger-
of 1.
Yeah, gonna say dagger should really be running off your
Dex
dex
weapon.
stat.
Yeah.
Yep, it doesn't. And yes, he has a modifier of -1 to his strength.
What's your dex modifier? Because I'm pretty sure daggers are finesse weapons.
Dex is 2.
They are.
For some reason, it shows it's using strength.
Are you rolling from Roll20 or your character sheet in the game?
Roll 20. I created the character only in Roll 20. At that point, I'm updating him on Roll 20 basically.
Well, if you go
Right,
to your
there should
dagger stat,
be-
there should be an option there to change what stat is used on the weapon
Yeah,
when
should
it's
be a
rolled.
little cog on the right. You just click that.
But my attack is still my attack. My attack is strength, but the damage will be. You said Dex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's for your damage.
Uh,
So that should give you. We'll let you keep the attack bonus for this, but we'll take away the damage, which would be 3. So 3 points of piercing damage on. And Lucy, you are not helping, sweetheart. I adore you, but.
I mean,
please get up.
I'm not here to help, mother.
I'm here to be helped, mother.
Alright. I got a fancy new LCD writing pad too, so I'm working with that. It was a gift. Okay.
Ooh, nice.
It's basically a glorified Etch-a-Sketch, and I love it. Right. And that's you?
Yeah, that's all that Reister can do right now.
Okay. Next up now is going to be this boy, Red Boy, who is right up in Haraga's face. So he is going to use his spear and go poke. Did that come through?
Not yet.
Ah, it's whispered. Okay, hang on. Sure, we'll
Yeah.
go with that. 16. Does 16 hit you, Haraga?
D.
You did?
Haraga.
Maybe she had to step away for a sec.
Possible. Let me see if her sheet's been updated in Roll20. Damn you all for making me do this. No, her armor class is 14, so that will hit. And that does 7 points of piercing damage. So I'm going to take 7 points off Haraga. There we are. He's going to attack again. And that's going to do... You know what, actually, where's the bloody thing? To tell it not to whisper.
Small cogwheel right next to spells.
It's fine, I'll do it.
Whisper rolls to GM.
I have too many tabs open. I'll finish it in a sec. Okay, 22. That's going to hit. So that is an additional 10 points of piercing damage to Haraga. There we are. And his third attack, because he gets 3 attacks, is again going to be a 26, which is 11 piercing damage to Haraga. 2, 3,
Yikes.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So in total, that was 28 points of damage to Haraga. Next up in the turn order is going to be the minions. So, green guy is gonna attempt to beat the ever-loving fuck out of Reister for stabbing him. So, he's going to go reckless to get advantage on his attacks. And then Great Axe. First need to double check how many attacks does he get. I think it's 1. So he's going to roll his Great Axe. I've lost roll 20. 20.
Yes, he hits.
Alright.
But
That's 4 points of slashing damage.
yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to use that to apply that people have advantage
Okay.
now. Oh yeah, that actually reminds me. Because D used Reckless, she would have got advantage on that. But anyway, moving on. Just quickly double checking. Yeah, you only have 1 attack, so you're grand. Next up then is going to be Orange, who's going to sprint over to try and deal with the perceived were creature. Would you like to take an opportunity attack?
Yeah.
Roll it. 21 will hit. And that's 6 points of damage. That was on Orange, so that's now that amount of health. She's gonna let that go on. She's gonna hit the Great Axe on Haraga. And that is 8, so that's gonna miss. Fuck me, even with advantage she misses. Next up is Purple, who is also gonna lay into Reister with her Great Axe. 10, that's gonna miss. Yellow is also gonna sprint over and attempt to tackle the were creature. It's actually gonna move here instead because that's as far as they can move. 5, 10, 15, 20, yep. And also
Don't they
attack
pass
Haraga.
Reister by? Oh,
You
wait,
only
he
get 1
already used
reaction
his
per turn.
reaction. Yeah,
And-
I remembered. Sometimes I'm not entirely stupid. Just mostly.
And they're gonna miss because that's a 10. And next to the turn order is going to be Zabornak.
Isn't this one going to attack?
No.
Okay.
Because it's a separate creature, it has a separate initiative.
Okay. I'm just saying I don't see them in the turn order, so I
None of
couldn't
them are in
know.
the turn order because I have it written here on my little paper.
Okay.
So Zabornak, would you like to fuck shit up?
Zabornak being Zabornak is just
Hey.
gently going to amble in. She likes to bring up the rear. She is in no big hurry. It's just a few bandits. How bad could it be? I am not worried yet.
Yet to be in the operative word there, I think.
Yes.
Anything
Because
else
she
you'd
does not know what's going on inside.
like- Fair.
Hmm?
Anything else you'd like to do?
Nope, that's her turn.
Okay. Samara, this guy is now cowering in fear of Elaine.
Samara is just going to rush in to about there. She's going to come up behind Yellow. She's going to You made a really bad mistake.
What's your movement speed?
She's thingied dashed,
Right, okay.
but she's basically she's got the full fangs out. She's let Von Zarovich blood run free, so to speak, as she's staring down at this guy. And that is her turn.
Okay. Next up, Irina is going to shuffle in as well. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And she's going to see Reister's getting fucked up. So she's going to use...
It just pays him right, doesn't it? The little voice in her head is going off. Oh, at least he's getting a taste of his own medicine.
She's going to remember that she has a fucking crossbow.
Yeah.
And shit this guy. 17 is going to hit him. And the crims are right, so that is going to be 5 points of piercing damage on that guy. And she gets a second attack because that's fun. Should we get... Ooh! Oh, I missed Irina being an absolutely brutal bitch.
Yeah, and she has better aim than Reister.
Okay, so that is going to be 4 plus 6 is 10 plus 8 is 18 plus plus 1 is 19 plus 6 is 25. 25 points of damage to Green. And now he just looks slightly pissed off. Minus... Fuck. What did I say? 25? Yeah, okay. So there's now... that many. I forgot how much math goes into being a DM. So that's her. Icy, would you like to make someone's day worse? I always get nervous when the sorcerer pulls out the measuring tool.
My mic was my
There
mic wasn't
we are.
down.
We can hear
Sorry about that. Okay, so also I looked on my sheet because I also have a dagger. Yeah, I put it under strength.
It should be under your decks there.
Yeah, roll
It's not
20,
an item I readily use, so I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. We'll
roll,
fix it later.
roll 20 goes strength.
I think it's time to make things a little hot in that room.
Oh no. Oh no.
So I'm gonna put it right there and use sorcery points to protect Irina, Tamara, and Haraga. That should be everybody.
Leaving Meister? Alright, so you cast it on here, this woman?
Cast it behind her.
Here? Okay.
And yeah, I'll rest her too. Like Reister.
Alright, if you must.
Well, if he has to survive.
Alright, so...
Well, it's like, okay, I can see those three. I can't see Reister. But wait a minute, I know he's in there, so yeah.
We'll do a collection
From afar.
for the same types.
From afar, Borp approved.
Alright, so they have to beat 16. Fail, fail, and fail. So that's minus 30 on all of them. So,
Whoosh.
he's down to that amount. No, wait. He's out of range. This guy erupts into fire and dies immediately. Orange
Oopsie-daisy.
looks a little annoyed. Purple also failed, so they take the full 30. Looks very annoyed. Yellow takes the full 30. Is trying to viciously pat herself out. The pink one, I can't see their health because there's a cat ass on it. There we are.
Catastrophe.
Now has this amount of health.
Also
Okay.
known as a puss bucket.
So, that was fun. Anything else you'd like to do, Icy?
Holy crap.
A sinister cackle,
Well-
perhaps?
Yeah, we'll say she does that. I'm not gonna
Oh,
actually
God.
cackle, but
The temple spirits approve.
Alright then. Sir Elaine.
Okay, Elaine is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And he is going to Eldritch Blast towards Orange.
Okay, roll it.
Okay, 1 second. Eldritch Blast. You
Okay.
need to make range spell attack. I really should set this up properly. Ranged. 27.
You know that
I've got to
might
do.
just
I've
hit.
got to do. I'm gonna say I think I've got 2 more blasts with it, haven't I?
I believe you do with the amount of levels of Warlock you have.
So that's 2 and a 3.
Oh my god. Alright,
Wait,
roll
you
your
have,
damage.
wait, you have 11 levels
Do
in.
all 3 of them hit?
You have 11 levels in Warlock.
No, just 3. I will just go with the first one then. Alright.
Do you get 2 blasts? Or no, that's level 5.
No,
Nah, I
so
only
you
get.
the first
No,
one.
he's
then,
only
sorry.
at 3. So yeah. Anyway, that's 12.
I thought you had more levels of Warlock than that. Oh well. That's me misremembering.
13.
Is it
isn't
3?
it? No, wait, 12, sorry.
12 points of
Oh,
damage. to
mistake.
Orange. So that is now this amount. Okay.
And that's his turn.
Ez is going to 5,
Everybody's having fun but me.
20, 25. She's gonna slip in past. Hi. I'm a creepy bitch. And she's
Hi,
gonna
fella.
get in here with her capesh. 26. And miss with the second attack. So she hits with the first one, so that's 8 plus 3, that it is
11. 11.
11. Yes, thank you for correcting my bad math. And that was on yellow. So that is now that amount. Raga! There are many tasty people around you. And Red doesn't look very... And Red stabbed you 3 times with his pointy stick. You are also muted, my darling.
Yeah, she's focused 100% on red. Another roar. And... come on. And she's, don't forget, raging and frenzying, so she gets 3. So she is 1.
Miss.
And she gets 2.
Miss.
But she gets advantage, right?
Oh, did you use your reckless? Do you have to do that every bonus action?
I didn't. I thought it had to come. I was going to say, I thought I had to do that at the end to declare it, but I'll do it now.
No, you have to do it before you attack.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was at the end like a bonus.
Well,
Sorry.
just say,
You can
no,
do your bonus action
Did
whenever
you
you
save
want.
him?
Oh. Is it too late now? So I have to save it
Hang
for
on,
next turn?
Hang on. You can go into a frenzy when you rage. If you do so for the duration of the rage, you can make a single melee weapon as a bonus action each of your turns. When your rage ends, you suffer 1 level of exhaustion. So yes, you are still going.
Yeah, she did say she was going reckless as well before.
Okay, that's fine. That's good. I thought you had to proc it each time, but no, you don't. Okay, so first attack does not hit. Second attack with advantage does hit. Third attack, he's going to use his parry ability to knock that away. So you only hit him with the second attack. So if you want to roll your damage for that.
Knock that away? That was her face.
Yeah, use the shield. Okay. And
7.
7 points. You also get rage bonus, don't you? Damage for your
Yeah.
rage.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do I roll
Yep.
for that?
I believe adding
It's a
2
straight
is
number, so let's see.
that's a
rage.
2. That's an additional 2 points of damage. So 12 points of damage in total.
No, because that 3 is not literally there. The lightning, she did not do her blade.
Okay, then it's
hang
9 points of damage.
Okay.
She's too distracted to remember that she can do that right now.
Yeah, that's true. So that is 9 points of damage to red. So that is now this amount of. Okay.
Can I also move?
You
No, I
can,
can't, because attack of opportunity.
Alright, so you're choosing not to move?
Actually, she's so angry. She is going to move and give this person an attack of opportunity on her.
Okay.
No,
No, you're still
this
technically
person
within
gets
her attack range, but yellow, however, will. So.
And she's going to move again, so I was going to...
Alright, yellow's
she's gonna
gonna
move
attack
up to
you
here.
with their great axe. Because they get advantage. 13. Does 13 hit you?
It... trying to remember. It does.
Okay. 6 points of slashing damage.
Arrgh.
And did you want to
Okay.
move further?
Yeah, she's moving here to give the others room to come in.
Okay, and
He's
orange is
maybe
also
raging,
going to
but
attack
he
you.
wants to... Yeah.
And they're going to a 19, so that's an additional 7
Yep.
points of slashing damage. And now, because I forgot this guy's turn, I'm going to give it to him now. Last round, so he is going to bite Reister. And he has advantage because he has an ally next to him.
Woof.
So that's 11. I assume that doesn't hit you, Reister.
let me just check. No, it misses. He bought the thin air.
Okay. Okay then. Speaking of Reister, it is your turn.
Reister turns around. Bad dog. Dagger.
That'll hit. 7 points of piercing damage.
And the second dagger that he carries
Well,
around.
You might want to hold off on that because 7 points of health is all that was left after this dog got toasted, so the dog is dead.
Yeah, okay, in that case. He goes the 22 purple lady.
That'll hit.
3 points of damage.
Okay. Let me just quickly do that. So purple. 3. Now this amount of health. She also looks very pissed off that you killed her pup. Okay, Zabornak, you're up next.
And once again, she's
Actually, sorry.
starts just.
I meant to say you're on deck. It's the bad guy's turns first. Because I can speak the English words. So, first off is Red. Red is going to turn around. And he's going to continue poking the big lady. And he gets advantage because you used Frenzy.
And
So, 21.
yes, it hits.
That is 8 points of piercing damage.
Oof. Haraga's starting to look hurt.
Nat 20. That is
Oof.
18 points of piercing damage.
Hold on a second. Hold on. 18 plus what? I'm lost.
8. I'll add it all up for you at the end.
19, 21, 36. Okay.
Alright, good. And he gets a third attack, so he's going to do that now. And that is a 26 to hit. And then that is a additional 16 points of piercing damage. So in total, that is going to be 8 plus 16 is 24, plus 6
and
is 30, plus 12 is 42 points in total.
yes, and Haraga is looking rough.
He's then also going to step over here to avoid getting surrounded. Next up then is going to be the others. Orange is going to keep tracking down this big scary thing. She's going to use Reckless and use Great Axe. That is 18.
Yep.
And that is 5 points of slashing damage.
Oof. Yeah, Haraga's not looking good, guys.
Okay. Yellow is going to turn around and let's see, which one is she going to attack? Of course it's the... Okay, she's going to attack Samara because Samara looks the freakiest. 22.
That way.
That is 7 points of slashing damage. Purple is going to look at her poor dead dog, look at Talander, and she's going to go into a full-blooded rage and attack you with a reckless attack with her great axe. That is a nat 20. 13 plus 5, that is 18 points of slashing damage.
Oh, you know what? No, it's not.
Okay, you see hits an attack roll, use your action to have the damage. Okay, fair enough. So go ahead and take 14 points of slashing damage instead. I'm also going to give her the reckless icon.
Wouldn't it... Oh, yeah, of course. The rage damage plus. My mistake. I was thinking I could reduce it to 9.
But it's 28 in total.
Oh, you said... Oh, 28. Okay.
Yeah.
My
28
mistake.
is 14.
I heard 18.
Oh, no. Zabornak, would you like to move your old bones?
Yeah, if I absolutely have to. Oh, I'll light up my banana in the meantime, and I'm gonna go. Sorry, sir. And I'm here. And Zabornak leans over to Arena's like, so how is it going in there?
Toasty. Also, Haraga looks mildly fucked up. If you have a ranged healing spell, that would really help.
Let me see.
Oh, fudge. Oh, gracious, goodness gracious.
Yep, that would be that.
Okay. So, healing word. That's fine. How much do you want to heal her for?
Seems like I'm casting a little bit.
8 points of healing to... I was going to say healing damage. Healing to Haraga.
Healing on damage.
Yep.
Oh, just wait until Haraga's next turn.
Okay. Is that you, Zabornak?
That would be me, yes.
Okay. Next up. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. That's as far as he can sprint. Samara.
Samara glares at Yellow and just goes, I'll deal with you later. So you move to there, giving Yellow a chance for attack opportunity.
Okay. She's totally gonna do that.
Okay.
Nat 1. She drops her great axe.
Yeah. She says, how dare you attack my wife? Cast Healing Word on Haraga to give her 3 points. And she is going to grab Red and inflict Vampiric Bite.
Okay. He is going to use his reaction to parry and knock that away.
She's just glaring at him. That's all she can really do.
Okay. Next
How
up,
do you knock a vampiric, by the
She's-
way?
with
She's-
shoving his shield in the vampire's mouth, apparently.
I'd say she catches it in her mouth like a frisbee.
Now see why you married a dog.
Crunch, crunch, crunch.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25. She's going to come up here. Yellow doesn't get an opportunity attack because she already used it. Irina is then going to attempt to help Reister with a poke. And miss. And a poke. That'll hit. So that is 12 points of damage to purple. Still not enough to take her down.
Oh, that's what Rice is for. To just nudge him over the edge.
So you claim. Alright.
So I claim because Rice is apparently completely shit at everything he tries.
Aww. Poor sweetheart. And she's not going to use that. She's going to save that for in case anything else happens. Next up, Icy. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, just because I'm pit of Rubble, smack right there, and sorcery points to protect people.
Okay, so that's going to be... could you ping that again for me where you're casting it? Is it behind Arena?
Yep.
Okay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 allies, so that's going to be 3 sorcery points. So make sure you're marking those off correctly.
Yep.
So dexterity saves. So don't need the direwolf stats anymore. He's dead. A dex save from you, and a dex save from you. So that happened. Where's my snipping tool? Just quickly copy that and put it in the Dice&Dolts chat.
What?
Oh my. Oh my.
Natural ones.
Snake eyes.
Toast. Toast.
I did a group
More
poll
toast.
for the berserkers because there's too many of them. So, yellow is dead. Lit on fire. Orange is dead. Also
Lit on
very much
fire.
on fire. Purple is dead. Very much on fire. Red looks pissed the fuck off.
You guys hurry up and finish them already. I've already cooked them twice.
Cold, Icy.
Cooking them, they're done.
So cold.
He's going to step forward.
Yeah, don't you know Haraga prefers her meat raw? How dare you?
Oh, that's coming next round.
He's going to step forward and 2 swings with a scimitar.
Miss and miss.
And that's all he can do.
Okay. Ez is going to get in on this action. 5, 10, 15, 20. She's going to get over here. I have lost her character sheet. I'll just open a new one. If it will take its time to load. There we are.
It's just time that it's just that I want to have fun.
Okay. He's going to parry the first one. He's going to get hit by the second one. No, he can't parry because he already parried Samara this turn, so... You can't do that. So
Yep.
that's going to be 7 and 8, which is 15. That brings that down to...
Ez has her carpet
And she
lit
is on
up.
fire, that's right. So it's an additional 5 points of damage. So that is now down to that amount.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Haraga.
Oh no! Oh no! Yes,
What would you like to
Jurnis, do you know what's coming?
Are you going to attempt to eat this man?
I don't know. I'm just gonna post that.
Oh
Which I
no!
have a lot of
If you begin your
Yes.
turn with no more than half your maximum hit points, you must succeed a wisdom saving throw.
Keep going. Keep reading, Jurnis.
Or move directly towards the getting an attack action against the creature. You can choose whether or not to use your extra attack feature for this frenzy attack. If there's more than one possible target, to roll randomly to determine the target. So, make me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, it was the last paragraph that I wanted you to
If
see,
you're under the
Jurnis.
effect that prevents you
Keep
from
reading.
concentrating... Oh no, you automatically save the... Okay, so
So what do I have
around
to roll to
you...
decide whether to attack Elaine or Red?
Well,
Yep.
roll a d4 even and odds, I would say.
Yeah, I
Even the
would say
bandit?
even gladiator
ahead.
odds, Elaine. Roll a d4.
Oh, Elaine.
Yep. So the question is, are you using your extra attack as well?
Yes.
All 3 attacks on Sir Elaine.
Yep.
Oh no.
Oh, sorry guys.
This is glorious.
Howl of Fury. 1. Oops. 1, 2, 3.
It came through 4 times, but we'll just disregard the bottom
sorry.
one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
13,
Those
26,
two
and
will hit.
23.
Last two will hit. Last two will hit.
Okay, roll damage twice there. So
Oh,
that is 15 points of a pissed off nowhere creature damage.
yes. And you, like, literally, it's all bite attacks. So she's just, like, locking onto whatever fleshy part of Elaine she can get a hold of. Arm, whatever you want to choose, Elaine.
Probably his face or neck.
Yeah, neck. That works. You just watch as she latches her jaws onto Elaine.
Reister.
It is quite comfortable.
And that'll be my turn.
Reister, sweetheart.
Ah.
Move in here. And 1. 16.
That will hit. Meets it, beats it. 7 points of piercing damage.
Yeah, I'm not going for sneak because he's well aware that Rice is around.
You've done it again. He had exactly 7 hit points. How would you like to do it?
Just didn't need to end like that. You knew it. Stabs right through the chest,
Okay.
letting him slide off the rapier and turning away from the corpse. Oh,
Okay.
and making a little movement away from Haraga.
Oh no.
As
Haraga,
he's
do you want to go for an attack of opportunity? Someone's
don't know
turning
how
their
that
back
works.
on you.
I don't know how that works, Jurnis. How does that work mechanically?
I
I get
would
another-
say in your frenzy, you're too busy concentrating on the person you already have in your jaws.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So. Last thing now. 5, 10, 15, 20. This guy is gone. He is off the map and he is away.
Yeah, we will find him when we go down the mountain about 5 miles away,
Okay.
dead in the snow.
So,
is Red? Is Red still bleeding out, or is he Completely gone.
Just about, but before we go any further, first off, there it is. Her Arena turns round and immediately barks out, "Haraga, drop him!"
And I assume I can obey.
That's up to you.
Well, she is. I mean, she never resists Irena's commands. So can I get out of my frenzy and rage from that?
Roll me a d20. Just a straight d20.
Yeah.
Haraga is still frantically gnawing at Elaine. Roll me another attack.
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. Oh, this isn't good.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, Haraga.
Okay.
That's gonna hit.
Oh, what I will do. Oh, god damn it.
Are we still in turn order?
I would say you had free action now. If you want, you can call it an action you want to do. Actually, I'll bring that.
Oh,
I'm gonna cast Hold Person on Haraga.
Okay.
if you hadn't, I would have.
Would you like to make me a wisdom saving throw there, Haraga?
Yeah.
No, wait, doesn't she feel automatically on wisdom? Still frenzied?
She gets disadvantage.
I don't know.
So 15, you are now paralyzed. Haraga, calm down. I actually meant to say that in Ez's voice, but I automatically went with Arena,
Yeah.
so...
Haraga, calm down. You don't need to fight anymore. I know my Ez is not the greatest, but it'll
Haraga.
work.
Enough. Drop him. He's my favorite.
That's enough. Only 2 people here get to chew on his neck, and that's me and Arena.
That seems about right. Alright. So, I would say, in the time it takes for the hold person to fade, your rage would have subsided, and you would have
Yes.
returned to yourself. So, while
That
you
is-
have a slightly salivating and guilty-looking Knoll statue in the corner,
And
is there anything else the party would like to do?
Samat, is Red still alive? Is he still bleeding out?
He's like slumped in the corner, just like holding his chest, kind of glaring around, but he's
Mara
pretty much
is
dying.
gonna grip his throat, lift him up.
He
I don't like.
spits blood in your face.
Oh, don't you know I don't like to play with my food? She's just gonna straight up bite into his neck and start draining him.
Elaine, are we the bad guys?
The werewolf in the corner can't nod.
Are we the baddies?
I'm just gonna roll piercing damage to regain health.
Okay. Sure,
That's
go ahead.
1d4 plus the con. So
Okay.
she regains 7 points of damage. And she just throws him to the side.
Alright.
Also, it seems we are at least morally very, very grey.
Arena didn't say that, I just kind of wanted to quote it. So,
Are we the relatively less bad guys?
As I'm concerned, anyone who does the Taraga is evil and deserves to die.
Oh. Reister just looks nervous all of a sudden. In a sense, he's the one who let all that happen.
So I was just gonna kind of pet Haraga and try and calm her down.
Can she move and make noise yet, or how long does it last?
I would say, yeah, around this time you could start doing that.
She slumps down on all
Elaine's-
fours. Sorry.
I'd say Elaine's just kind of rubbing his neck where Haraga was biting him.
And Haraga slinks, bowing her head on all fours, and trying she like leans into Samara when Samara's petting her, but then she walks away and slinks over very submissively to Elaine and tries to experimentally give him a nudge with her shoulder on all fours, like up whimpering, like she's being totally submissive to him.
And then just pats her shoulder and just gives her a nod. All is forgiven.
She understands that. She then goes around on all fours over to sit next to Samara, but then gets up and goes back over to do the exact same thing to Irina, not Ed.
We'll discuss this later, Haraga. In the meantime, Elaine holds still. And Irina's pulling out some bandages to basically clean up and wrap your wound to prevent it from getting infected.
At the non-physical response, Haraga goes over to the corner and curls up, walks around 3 times, and flops down.
Oh.
She didn't get petted. That's bad.
Is everyone else alright? Reister, you look... Actually, you look alright.
Haraga looks way worse for wear.
Yes.
And if she hadn't changed her form, things could have gone way worse.
Possible, but
because I fucked up.
Hello, Chi. Yes, that is a delightfully wonderful ass, but please get it out of the way while I'm trying to DM.
You heard my booty, mother.
Give me back my pen. No, pens are not for kittens.
I wish to write, mother. I wish to compose poetry.
No, she wants to go
FaceTime
outside.
for spring.
She wants to go outside with her little Asboo collar. Colin got a GPS tracker for her just to see where she goes. That's actually kind of adorable. Okay. It looks like an ankle monitor. It's hilarious.
Wonderful. That's amazing.
So, what do you want to do?
I think Zabornak is going to go over to Haraga and kind of pat her on the head and go,
Okay, I see what happened here. You panicked, you got angry, you lashed out. And I know I told you this is very, very bad, and don't get me wrong, it is, but the thing about getting better is that it doesn't happen all at once. And setbacks will happen. That doesn't put you back at square one, it just means that you have more work to do. I believe in you. I think you will get better. You just have to, focus on getting better control of yourself.
Zabornak,
Yes.
she turned into her hyena form because, as I see it, she wanted to protect me and protect herself.
Oh, I understand that.
If anyone is at fault here, it's not her. She's done the best that she could with the cards she was dealt. I was
I
the
understand
one who
that.
screwed up.
I know. I'm used to it. Anyway, I'm just admonishing her for blindly lashing out, which is something she has to get under control. But you see, she wanted to be an animal, and an animal does lash out like that. But she's still a person, so a little bit of one, little bit of the other. But yes, I will gladly acknowledge that you fucked up. Well done.
All right. Now what?
Ricer's going to cast Cure Wounds on Haraga if she allows him to put his hand on her.
Does she like
Does
it?
Haraga allow that?
Yeah. She's moping though. She's flopped.
Smells to do the same.
Up until the end, you did really, really well.
Hang on, I'm gonna roll an insight on her Marina. See how smart she is in this. He's like crouched down and just like pats behind the ears. You did well, Haraga, but you have to control your temper. I know it's hard, but I want you to promise to try harder.
And she brightens up immediately and calms down. Whew.
Be careful. Yeah, she's right.
I'm gonna send GM something.
Sure.
She's tossing her head around.
Reister, with your
Yeah.
passive,
Yeah.
She's like snuffling at the air.
you... Oh wait, Arena's got the full helm on. Never mind.
If the eyes are turning into two different color, you would be able to see it.
You don't
She's not-
actually
she's-
roll insight with disadvantage, because you've only got the face to
Okay.
work with.
Ah, fuck.
You have no idea what Arena is thinking right now. She's
In fact, you briefly forgot her name.
Sahakon. My name is Sahakon. She's gonna turn around and start poking through some of the sleeping rules.
Why do I have the feeling that I really done fucked up? Samara.
Believe me, Rice, it wasn't yours, it was theirs.
I shouldn't have let it get to that point. There again we are. Putting the blame on ourselves. I'm sorry. Talanda just broke through for a moment.
Samara's just going to make sure to wipe her mouth. As I said, they made the mistake of attacking us.
I'd hope that I would be that the guy who went back out was the leader.
Oh,
Shows
shit.
how great of a strategist I am.
Where did he go? Is he still out there?
He's probably fucked off. If he's seen all of you come at him.
I'm gonna go check. Arena says that to Haraga too. She's going past. She's like, you can eat the wolf if you want.
Oh shit. Leap, jump, race over to the wolf, and it's graphic. I'm not trying to be descriptive, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with how hyenas eat. They just bite right through bone. It is ugly.
I wouldn't worry too much, Resta. One survivor means it will learn next time.
Oh no, if you fucked him up about as well as you fucked the rest of them up, he's not going to make it about a mile.
Oh no, he should make it, but given what Lane did to him, I doubt he'll forget in a hurry.
Where's Arena? Gone?
She said she was going outside to see what he was doing, if he was still there or not.
Why do
Every learned nothing.
Why do I have a bad feeling about this?
Oh, yeah, he's
Thank
fucking gone. Looks like he's scalped.
That's good at least. That's good at least.
Yeah. Knows what's good for him.
As Samara pointed out, it means that he will probably go back, tell any others, they'll realize not to come mess with us.
Well, I'm not sure if that might be the happen, but we'll see. With the other thing, it looks like he wasn't wearing his cold weather clothes, so he might just die of exposure on the way down the mountain.
Mm.
That is a possibility.
Well, that's cold.
There's also
Yeah.
a possibility that he knows other places to shelter.
Sure, I hope so.
Thing is, they seemingly knew of this room.
Oh, did you get any information out of them, actually, now that I think about it?
Seems they only knew of this room, according to Dead Boy over there, and he points to the corpse that Samara had dropped. They seem to think that the rest of the temple is about as deadly as the entrance.
Makes sense.
Oh, Rista, while you're at it, maybe you could check that door for traps.
Of course. Of course I can try. And he checks that door for traps.
It would be more an investigation, not sleight of hand. Okay.
He's going to persuade the door not to be trapped now.
You touch the door and explodes in your face. No, doesn't appear to be any traps here, except for what looks like a board that had been shoved in under the handle, but it looks like it was placed by the hunters in this room to haphazardly, sorry, there we are, I can speak English words, barricade the door.
Looks like the door's just barricaded, not trapped.
Yeah, that's valuable information there.
Then again, if you want me to open it, I'll open it. While you take cover in case that thing explodes in my face.
Let's not go there yet.
Haraga, when you're having fun with your meal,
Yes.
would you like to roll me a perception check?
You got it. Please do well. Please do well.
Okay. As as the blood is pooling from your meal, you notice it seems to be running under the wall.
Oh. 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 So she's licking the floor, and she gets to the edge and is licking the floor.
I would say you all kind of notice that Haraga has stopped devouring her meal and is now licking at the wall.
Lick, lick, lick.
Faster walloping than a wall licking.
Poking her
Rice,
nose.
Rice is investigating the wall
She's trying to
around
get the
where
peanut butter.
Okay.
where Haraga's licking.
Reister, you start looking around the brickwork, marking up from where you now see the blood pooling out of the wall, and you notice that this is not a complete wall. You could theoretically pry this open.
Looks like someone's tried to barricade to close a passage or something. I could probably pull it open. You want me to?
That'd be a good idea.
Right, Haraga, I need you to step a little bit to the side. I don't want to hurt you.
Hmm.
It's all good. And yeah, Rice is going to try to pry this open.
Okay.
This this blocked off passage.
You attempt to pry it open from the bottom. It shifts ever so slightly, and you notice that there's actually a more handy handhold that's around waist height. So you're able to grab that and pull the door open. I realise now that I forgot to actually put a door in this with the dynamic lighting. So I'm just going to pull Reister and Specky in there. Inside, the door swings closed behind you. You find yourself in... where's the description? In a small room. Carved into the south wall of this dusty space are cylindrical holes fit for scrolls or maps.
I just heard that.
No, the holes are not good enough for naps.
I heard squirrels.
Cylindrical
okay.
holes that are fit for scrolls or maps.
Yeah, I realized it was scrolls, but first I thought I heard squirrels, and I was like, huh?
Well, it looks
On the
like
scroll storage.
looks like I will have.
Yeah. Haraga's
Okay.
gonna sniff ahead. She's still hungry. Maybe there's more food in there.
This room is caked with dust.
Oh. Sneeze, 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 sneeze. Goes over to be
Right.
Samara.
In that case, Rice is going to check the holes.
Okay. Roll me an investigation check. Alright, you start looking around and you notice that a lot of these holes appear to have little wrapped up spirals of parchment. There are probably about just over a dozen or so that have something in them. The rest appear to be empty.
Ha, bloody ha. Can Rice communicate with the room out beyond the wall?
You could push the door open. It's much more obvious on this side of the wall.
Yeah, he pushes the door open and holds it open. Found a lot of scrolls in here. Don't know what the meaning of them is. But if we want to go through all of them, I need your help.
Elaine is going to step in to help.
Okay, I'll just drag you in.
Smart boy.
Elaine, why are you suddenly stepping out again?
There.
I don't know.
So, you come in and you see this. It's now all carved out in the stone, and you see the scrolls.
He's going to start examining the scrolls.
By how are you examining them?
He's going to examine the outside first, see if there's any seals or symbols he can recognize.
Okay. You don't see. They're all pretty much lying horizontal with just the scroll caps poking out. A few of them have wooden spine rods. Others are mostly just curled pieces of parchment. However, the parchment does look to be exceptionally old, weathered, and fragile.
Lane is going to very delicately try to remove one of them.
Okay. You grab one of the scrolls and pull it out, and it starts
I
to
said
crumble in your
delicately. No, he's going to try and do it very carefully.
Okay.
Basically
Roll
using
me a
sleight of hand.
Okay. You pull this scroll out. It's around the... Let's say, did you grab one of the ones with end caps or one of the ones that does not have an end cap?
With an end cap.
Okay. You
One of the
pull out
ones-
the end cap, and the paper comes with it, but as it starts to leave, it starts to crack and flake.
Yeah, then he's just going to very carefully pull it the rest of the way.
Comes out and fragments start to fall off.
He's going to very carefully start to open it.
Roll me another sleight of hand. Okay. You start to very carefully try to open this scroll, but the moment you put any pressure on the paper, it basically crumbles in your fingers. From what you were able to glean as you slowly try to unroll it, it looked like it was a map of the immediate mountains, but it crumbles in your hands.
Okay. Well, from what I could tell, it was a map of the area.
Oh.
Hey.
Looked like it was ancient as well, given how quickly it crumbled away.
It's probably from here before you know who got here.
So you mean we better not touch these things in case this ever gets back to reality?
I would say more of it if we did try to take them, they'd just crumble to dust in our hands, Reister.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Because we would not be able to archive. This is an archive we can't really use, apparently, then.
Unfortunately, it looks that way.
Reister's going to take a look to see which of the open scrolls looks the youngest. As in, the most likely to still be able to be opened.
Roll me an investigation. Okay. You find one around shin height that looks to be in relatively decent condition. The pages are yellowed, the edges of the parchment are flayed. Frayed, even. Not flayed, frayed. There's an R in there. So that looks to be the, for lack of a better word, healthiest scroll.
Okay. I'm going to try my luck with this one, just to see if it's just maps or if there's maybe a little bit more. And he very, very slowly and very meticulously, pulls it out while while covering it in cloth, as if not to disturb material too much.
Roll me a sleight of hand check.
Sure.
Okay. You're able to get it out of the hole, but you do nick one of the edges as you pull it out, so that corner kind of crumbles. The rest of the scroll seems to be okay.
Okay. Slow breaths, no wind. Okay. And he slowly unfurls it, stopping whenever he senses a little bit of a crack within the parchment.
Make me another sleight of hand check.
Ah, fuck!
I will say because
That's even
you're
in
saying you're
character.
doing it so careful, I'll let you have advantage with it. As you slowly start to unfurl the scroll, you recognize there is a lot of writing on this. Some of the writing you do not understand, but you do recognize to be arcane runes. Elaine, looking over his shoulder, you recognize in amongst the arcane runes are celestial runes. And as he is slowly unfurling this, you realize that this is a spell scroll with a divine spell crafted onto it. I would like you to make me either a Arcana check or a Religion check to see if you can identify the spell that is held in this spell scroll.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a 12.
This very delicate scroll is a spell scroll of Revivify.
Okay, I think. Let's see who the best using this. It's a scroll of Revivify.
And it still works, despite the edge crumbling off a little.
As I can tell, but
Roll me
the
Arcana.
question is who be.
Okay. You would know that spell scrolls, they are fortified with the magical essence that is saved within them. So although this paper looks like it could fall apart very easily, it does have the slight resistance of magical energy in it. However, the advanced age of this scroll could put it at risk, so it would have to be transported carefully.
Right, have we got any kind of tubing or? Elaine's going to try and look around and see if there's any scroll cases or anything like that.
Sure. Roll me perception.
I mean, I do have these nesting dolls still with me.
They wouldn't be big enough to hold a scroll. And
But,
as you look around this
yeah.
room, sadly you don't see any scroll or any of the tubes that would usually be used to transport scrolls. You do notice there is a scroll on the shelf that appears to have a wooden case on it. But to use that wooden case, you would have to destroy the scroll that is inside it.
Elaine is going to quickly examine the scroll inside the case.
What languages do you speak?
Celestial, Draconic, and Infernal.
Sadly, you do not recognize the text.
Yeah, Elaine's going to very carefully try and take it out.
Roll sleight of hand.
Oh, you need help.
Yeah.
As you attempt to withdraw this from the wooden scroll box and the spine, the paper splits and fragments into confetti. The scroll is destroyed.
All right.
As at least now we have a case.
Oh.
Elaine's just going to kind of hold the open case for Rice to put the spell scroll in.
Rice is going to empty his water skin that he carries around. He very carefully, delicately puts the scroll onto it and very, very slowly, not even inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter, moves it closer to the box, dropping water skin and scroll in it slowly.
Okay. I would say with the two of you working together, you managed to get the scroll relatively safely secured inside this wooden case.
Okay. And I'm just going to very carefully remove the water skin to hand it back to Reister.
Whereas the rest of you outside the room hear the two of them mutter, "Carefully put it in, Reister." I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
Elaine is going to kind of walk out back into the room. He's just going to say, Okay, we managed to find the scroll of Revivify. Question is, who would be best to use it?
Irina looks at Zabornak.
I was going to say, I see nothing because I can see everything right now.
I may be old, but I think that's a little bit offensive.
However,
I meant
you know,
that you should carry it because you're more careful and tend to be in the back lines.
yes, it's a very fragile fragment of my. It's a very fragile object, and I know that you take great care in the things you
I-
take care of.
I suppose I could hold on to it for a little while. I got enough cellulose on me anyway.
Plus, to be fair, Zabornak, out of all the spellcasters here, you are the one more gifted with healing magic.
That is also true.
Very kind and very wise of you to observe. Well, I will take it for now.
Alright. Now,
Well, it looks like we have two choices. And Rice is pointing at the two doors. That one I have no idea whether or not it's trapped. This one, well, at least it doesn't seem trapped.
Yeah, then get to work and check if it's trapped or not. You're the rogue, after all.
I know.
Bossy icy. Cold bossy icy. Wow.
better, Elaine?
Pardon?
When you say you can see the rest of the map, is the rest of the map in grayscale?
Nope, I can see the entire thing in colour. I'm currently averting my eyes.
Ah, god damn it. How about now?
Not yet.
God damn it. Alright, you know what? No vision for you. Bad, Elaine. Bad.
You're blinded. You've lost your sight privileges.
If it helps, I can see it too, but I'm looking away as well. I'm not paying any attention to the map because I can see.
You should be able to see through the walls.
I can see. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
going to take a
same.
picture and send it to you, Jurnis.
Yeah, please do that so I can troubleshoot.
I'm not looking. I'm like averting. I'm just like keeping my eyes blurry so I can't tell exactly what it is.
If it helps, at least I don't see the entire map in color.
No, when I look through
Yes.
your eyes and move you around, I can only see you around the room.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that's grayscale. Basically, that's what you did see in the past.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
your character is aware that is there. Like, say for example, now if I grab a
Okay.
random token, a random NPC.
No problem. Just wanted to help.
Say if I stick this character over here in the entrance hall, can any of you see her?
No.
Can you, Elaine?
It's a ghost.
Yeah, I can see her. I know who that is.
Damn it. Go and try refreshing your screen for me.
Okay.
It might be because Samara's through the door. Alright.
Oh, and Rice just checked the door at the top for traps.
Roll investigation.
Already done that.
Oh, so you did. You do not sense any traps?
Well, looks like this one's not trapped either. I'm fairly certain about this one, to be honest.
I changed that on my spells for attack shit, so I can't do anything. Anybody got detect magic?
No.
So,
Which way then?
Well, I would assume that this door would lead back to the main area.
Yeah,
But do
further
we
I
know
think.
what's there?
Exploding things.
That's the
Yes.
barricade.
So we take this one then.
Yes, I
And
say we.
Rasta
say we-
very carefully opens the door in front of him, trying to not make any noise. That would be a stealth check, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It screeches a little bit.
It does. The door creaks as you open it up. Just let me switch
They
to
really-
dynamic lighting. Bottle up, bottle up,
You-
bottle up. Okay.
Oh, great.
Inside this corridor. Let me just bring a specky up over here so the stream can see. Okay. The walls of this 20-foot wide, 70-foot long arched corridor are sheathed in amber. The southern half of the hall is scorched by fire, and a charred corpse lies on the floor, here under a burned fur cloak. Several amber doors lead from this hall, and 3 arrow slits are cut into the eastern wall. Floating of the middle of the hall are 3 skulls wreathed in green flame, and they start to turn to look towards the creaking door.
Rasta pulls the door closed.
Oh.
Okay, you slam the door.
Yeah, Rasta slams the door.
Oh, I swear, for something called Thunder Wave, it doesn't necessarily feel wavy.
Okay, everything but the room we're in is grayed out for me. So
Good, 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 good. It has been fixed.
Okay.
What did you see? Why did you slam the door like that?
3 green burning, 3 skulls burning, floating around.
Oh,
Green
yes, those fuckers
fire.
shot at me while I was in there last time.
Oh, great. Yeah, it looks like they're pointed in our direction right now. I couldn't oil the hinges, for fuck's sake.
So, what do we do?
I see would have seen this too, right?
Grudge.
Oh, yeah,
Buddy?
definitely.
Grudge.
Not the body. It would be up to Reister to describe what he saw in the corridor.
Oh yeah, and there's someone who's been toasted to death in there. Right beyond the door, basically.
Haraga! As you're making noises at the door, you hear from beyond it.
If you're whispering, we can't hear you.
Yeah.
Just, it's a kind of noise.
Okay. I actually want to save that.
She lets out a big hyena yip. She's pissed.
You know what?
She's had a tummy full of wolves. She's feeling frisky.
Resta, open the door, and I'm going to try and shoot one with a firebolt.
Okay.
I
Let's
think
color
that's a
code these guys.
good idea.
Well, it's one way we have to go. I mean, it's either that or we go back to the fiery explodey room and try our
Alright.
hand there.
Alright, I just want to make certain that everyone who does not have magic spells that work at a distance to take these things out gets out of the way.
Well, I have a crossbow, so that's about as hard I have.
Just want to avoid anyone getting hurt.
Oh, goody.
We should also avoid anyone getting seen.
Yes, that as well. So the idea is basically open door, shoot, close door. Does everyone agree with that plan?
For me. And Haraga, would you mind stepping back from the door?
Thank you, Haraga.
He's
You
in a
guys
good
just
position to
stand
help
in front
ready.
of Arena.
And Reister opens the door just wide enough
This is in my arms, I can't.
that shots can be fired.
I see sticks her hand through and firebolts the first one she sees.
Okay, that'll hit.
Lane's gonna. Can Lane fire off an Eldritch Blast?
Holy
Nice.
sh!
I would say sure, why not?
What is that?
18?
You Actually, I would say Irina would have got over here and took a pot shot with her thing as well. I assume these are all aiming for red.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just get a pot shot from Irina with her crossbow. Poke. Okay, so Firebolt hits, Eldritch Blast hits, Irina misses. So that's going
Door
to be
closed.
21 points of damage on red. So that's now that amount. Reister, roll me a dexterity check real quick.
A regular dexterity check, not a dex save.
Yeah. You're basically now seeing how quickly you can close this door. Okay. Just roll for this. And I need a dexterity check for this thing on how quick it reacts. Oh, that is a nat 20. Reister, as you are closing the door, does a 19 hit you?
Let me just check, yes.
You take 17 points of fire damage.
Ow, 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 fire! Ow.
Tamara's gonna move over and cure wounds.
It seemed to work, but I think perhaps we need to hide behind the door as quick as we can.
That thing was faster than I expected.
So fast for something so dead.
I would agree if I could understand what Aragina is saying.
Yeah, she doesn't talk when she's in uniform. She just barks.
Yeah. And I'm not going to put my talk with animals right now. Yeah. It's tricky.
May I
Wondering why it's not trying to come through the door.
Smart money says it can't. I mean, it seems to be some kind of guardian spell that may be confined to the area it's supposed to control.
So we keep cheap shotting it from the wings?
Sounds like a plan.
Alright. Bows and cantrips, I suppose?
I'm tempted to send in some sort of, conjured animal. See if that distracts them.
Didn't distract the big statue. At least not too much.
Oh, it drew the fire, didn't it?
Literally, yes.
Yeah. It turned into wall of fire.
What I'm thinking is... Yeah. How about I send in a swarm of bugs just swarming all over the place? That should diffuse their fire a bit while you take a pot shot.
Yeah, I think that would work, darling.
Let's go with mosquitoes. Nobody's gonna cry over those.
Yes, I couldn't bear to see any more badges explode. Okay. So, how many swarms do you conjure?
Let me look it up right quick, because I'm very well prepared. Thing is, I always have a tab open for that, but I keep losing the tabs. Because, you know, I've... Okay,
The Gobo keeps slowing down.
Form doesn't show up, hold on. Forgive me, I will have to Google that real quick.
How dare you?
Give me Father, for I must Google.
Consult the great god of knowledge, Google.
Captain Google.
So that's a
swarm
challenge
or
rating
swarm?
of...
Is
Sorry.
Yeah.
a half.
A half,
Yep. That makes 4 swarms.
Okay. And you're summoning...
Conjure. Yep, conjuring in the room that we're in, and we can send the swarms in one by one for pot shots.
Okay, there you are. You have 4 swarms of buggies now floating around in the room. Like stray little mosquitoes are like randomly landing on all of you and taking little nibbles.
Samara just glares at them.
Sit.
Did you just command a swarm of mosquitoes to sit?
Maybe?
The
They can.
mosquitoes all float to the ground or shelves or just people's shoulders or heads. They're no longer flying,
Yep,
they're all just kind of en masse on the ground or just scattered around on top of you guys.
All with their heads lowered, weirdly looking guilty.
Yep.
Good buzzers.
That was surreal.
Everything's surreal around here.
Alright. Ready when you are.
Alright, do you want me to open the door again?
Alright. Zabornak, I want you to ping me in this room where you want to send your swarm to. So I... basically, as soon as he opens the door, your mosquitoes are going to make a beeline for that spot. And stay there.
Beeline. Yeah, I'm gonna say here.
Okay, front of that door. Alright. So, the door is opened. Reister, with your perception,
Well-
you will notice... Yes, Zabornak?
So, go first, my buzzy asshole.
Bitey assholes. Do you send them in? They buzz down. Reister, with your perception, as you open the door, you realise that the skulls have stopped paying attention to the door until it opens. And they turn to look at the door. This one gets distracted by the flies. This one gets distracted by the flies. This one's still kind of aimlessly staring at a wall. So they are going to... Okay, so roll your attacks. And which one are you attacking?
Tagging red.
Okay, 19 hits. Do your damage. 8. Okay. Icy.
Firebolt.
You know, I think that might just hit. Gonna blow your damage? 10? Okay. Oh, come on. And Arena is going to try her crossbow. That misses. Unfortunately, her arrow goes skittering down the hallway and she swears to herself. It is now their turn. They are both going to attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see. Swarm of Insects. What is its AC? Its AC is 12 and its hit points is 22.
Surprisingly hardy.
Hit. 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 Zabornak, you hear the screams of thousands of tiny mosquitoes as they all get ignited. This swarm is gone. To be fair,
Arena, it's aim, then shoot. Aim, then shoot.
I did aim, that's why I didn't shoot Reister in the ass. Meanwhile, the skulls are starting to turn back to look towards the door.
Reister closes the door
There you
slowly this time,
go. Okay.
in order to minimize noise.
You're closing it slowly.
In order to minimize noise.
You're doing it quietly. Unfortunately, the door's still open. And that is the wrong button, Nicola. This one.
Fuck! I should have.
As you're very slowly trying to close the door, you feel something hot next to your ear as a bolt of fire just kind of zips past your ear. You get the feeling that they're attacking the open door because it is open, not because they notice that it's making noise.
Okay, he closes the door quickly now.
Okay.
He picks up the speed. Okay. Fast open, shoot, close. Seems like they're guarding the door.
Okay. So, rinse and repeat.
Yep.
Same place, Zabornak?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're predictable enough.
You open the doors. Your mosquitoes go out, drawing the attention of the two skulls. Icy. 13 meets it, beats it. Roll
Okay,
your damage.
Elaine's going to attack as well.
Okay. This skull crumples to the ground. Its flame extinguishes.
Elaine is going to fire an Eldritch Blast at Blue Boy.
Okay, just reaching the over there. 17 will hit.
Let's do force damage.
Blue, so that's now.
And he's going
this way to
to move
health.
up as well.
Ravina's gonna try and use her crossbow. That'll hit. And that will do.
And as soon as they're done, Reister quickly closes the door.
We'll do that amount of damage because she doesn't have her Crimson Right on this weapon. Okay, weapon is closed. They are distracted by the mosquito swarm, so 1, 2, 3, cat. Was it
That's
really
an interesting way to
necessary
count.
to mash all your paws on as many keys as possible?
Counting to cat. 1, 2, 3, cat.
Okay.
It's a new number that goes in between 3 and 4.
Well,
It's not your fault that you're using a foot massager.
Attacks.
Pardon?
She
Sorry.
rolled 17 extra attacks, so I'm just going to take the first 4. Hit, 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 and hit. So 12 plus 8 is 20, plus 9, 29, plus 6 is 35. Yeah, those mosquitoes are also very dead.
That sounds same as the two before.
Okay.
No, that was a question to the party. Do we keep on going doing the same?
No need to fix what isn't broken.
All right. Reister opens the door again.
The mosquitoes are sent into their deaths. Icy.
Okay.
Okay, 1 second.
That'll
I'll
hit.
into fire as well.
That'll definitely do some damage. Irina hits. And Elaine hits. So that's 16 plus 6 is 22, plus 9 is now 31. So 31 points of damage. The flame skull is... its flames start to diminish to the point where it's just barely this tiny little halo around the bone. It's making little sputtering noises. And it's going to turn and go 1, 2.
And Reister's closing the door as quickly as possible.
So that is 20 points of damage. The swarm is still technically alive.
Huh.
It's greatly diminished, but it's still there.
All right. Zabornak would know that the swarm's still there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she would have perceived that, yeah.
All right. One more time, just with the swarm that's already there.
You need to act quickly or else they're going to attack again.
All right. Open door. Everybody firing on.
Okay. Irina fires.
I would say.
At that one. So we'll say Elaine was faster, so roll your damage there, Elaine. 1.
Hey.
Doesn't quite finish it off. We'll say Icy's firebolt hits it, does the 10 fire damage, and this one is down. And I would say Irina is quick enough to change her trajectory to the green one at the back and does 10 damage to that one. However, it has now attracted its attention. 5, 10, 15. It's going to attack the mosquitoes. What did I say the AC of the non-stick was? 12, okay. That hits, and then that misses, does 6 fire damage, and that's just enough to fry the last of the swarm. Oh, this is going to be further than I thought. There we are. I assume you've closed the door after you did your attack.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Just popping the door open, attacking, and then as soon as the last thing has cleared has cleared the door, he just basically slams it shut.
Okay.
Or pulls it shut in this case.
Zabornak.
Okay.
Are you sending in your last swarm?
Yes, and I'd like to note that it's going to position itself slightly above the height of the door level.
Okay, so you want it higher off the ground? Sure.
Yeah, slightly.
Same.
Just
place?
the thinking is, the thinking is that if the fireball whizzes past it, it still hits above the door.
Okay. So the swarm is in. Reister has opened the door. Icy, Elaine, and Irina, roll your attacks.
Okay.
That's
Sadly, firebolt misses. Irina hits. Elaine definitely hits. So that's 6.
God's sake.
Oh my god.
you get a crit and those numbers. Wow.
Okay. And now it gets to attack the swarm. Hit. It does 20 points of damage. The swarm is still technically alive. So, another round of attacks.
Dwarf Door open, guns blazing, I would say.
I can't believe you're all rooting for a bunch of mosquitoes to survive.
Yes, come on, mosquitoes! Also,
Um,
can't wait till you reveal that there's 6 more of these skulls in there, Jurnis.
so all of those hit. Irina does 10.
Finally.
It is 20, and Patrick, or Icy, finishes it off with that last little firebolt. It drops to the ground. The flame dies out. And
I can open the door fully now.
Reister keeps the door open and opens it wide now. Well, it looks like we got a little bit of peace at least.
So as soon as Richard does that, Icy is going to investigate the scorch pattern.
Sure. Roll me an investigation.
Come on, intelligence of 2!
You start looking around, and you can see that whoever this guy was, he was blasted by these skulls. But let me quickly get a quick description of what he has here. There it is.
Cool.
So, you look over this guy, and it looks like he is trying to hide under a thick... he tried to hide under a thick animal hide cloak, but it didn't work. In his hand, he has clutched a staff. In the other, he has clutched a book that is nothing but ash. The only thing that's left now is the leather binding in his hand.
You read the title. It says nothing but ash.
Samara is going to examine the staff. She's got an instinct what this could be.
I'd assume this poor thing was a wizard at some point.
Yeah, seems likely.
Roll an Arcana check for me, Samara. Yeah, this has some sort of magical runes carved into it.
Klaatu Baradan Nicto.
So would you be able to identify it?
I can certainly try. And, but I would need to do this as a ritual cast because I can't really spend any more magic until I've had a bit of shut-eye. And yeah, Reister does his song and dance routine. What is the staff in the corpse's hand? What is the staff? It's surprisingly jaunty. So yeah, he does his song and dance routine. Well, mostly song. And he's trying to keep it a little bit quiet.
The last few dozen mosquitoes seem to buzz around the bloody maw of Haraga, occasionally landing.
He is then going to go as is and make a perception check on these arrow slits.
Okay. Roll it. Okay, you glance out and you can see a large cavernous room. One that sounded like what Ez described earlier on. Unfortunately, there's not much light, so it's pretty dark. You can't see much detail.
So yeah, Rice is doing his routine. Should be done any hour now. Any minute now. Ooh. Ooh, that's a staff of frost.
Oh, gimme.
Just gimme.
I see he's demanding today. Whoa.
And yeah, Rice is going to relay the information that's on the card you put up on the note.
Okay. Do you give the staff to Icy?
Icy doing grabby hands.
Dragon grabbies.
Grabby claws.
As
Gimme.
much as I think you would benefit from it, I'm, for now, leaving it in the capable hands of Madame Zabornak if she does not disapprove.
Are you trying to make my spine break at this point?
No. I just want to make certain that that nothing bad happens to any of us. I mean, if you think it's a good idea, I'll to Miss Swiftwings.
I'm of two minds on this. On the one hand, Miss Swiftwings already has a whole bunch of ice spells. On the other, I certainly could use some resistance to cold damage, seeing as I'm a reptile and I have greenery on me. Tell you what, I'll hold on to it for the moment, and once we're in warmer climate, I'm gonna hand it over.
I mean, it does require attunement, so it would be no good instantly anyway, Miss Swiftwings.
By the sounds of it, it sounds like it would do decent work in her hands. Zabornak, would you use it at all?
Oh no, you convinced me not to be a pack mule.
All
Here
right.
you can have it.
All right. I just thought you seemed rather quick to jump to, oh, mine. That's why I was a little hesitant. I hope you
magic
don't.
staff.
I hope you don't think poorly of me.
Oh, not at all. I give it here.
All right.
Can you put that description back up, Jurnis?
Sure, you'll be able to find it if you go to your journal tab there. It is under magical items, and they are in rough alphabetical order under Staff of Frost.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much time has passed for all this? Ernest?
Probably it would have been around 20 minutes or so. Your hybrid
Okay.
form can hold for an hour.
Yes, it'll hold longer than that. She's working on that.
She can try.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've told you before that she has been trying very hard to make it last longer than an hour. She's been working on
So,
As Russia hands it over, he has a
yes?
gut feeling. Not knowing what it means, so I'm not going to roll for it because it's a gut feeling, but what the meaning of it is, I don't know.
I will also say, Jurnis, that Haraga has started sniffing the ground Scooby-Doo style. She's trying to pick up a scent. See if she can trace back this guy from where he came into the room, or if it leads back, and trying to find any scents that lead this way that have a significance.
Roll perception.
I already thought I didn't. I did the wrong one. Oops. I did investigation of 14. Let me do perception. I was just trying to... perception, come on, Hiraga.
Okay. You do get advantage because you're in your hybrid form.
Yay!
You sniff around and you can smell the sulphurous remains of the skulls that are currently lying on the ground. However, the skeleton, the scent has degraded far too much. It has been there for a very, very, very long time.
Does she find any trails of sense that lead in any direction this way? She's trying. That's what she's mainly looking for.
You sense no trails other than the sulphurous exhalations of the skulls. You sense nothing else.
Yucky. So she's going to slowly and carefully start loping forward.
Okay. So for
Sniffing
context,
the ground.
for those who can't see the map correctly, there is a door here, here, and here.
As well as a big double door at the end of the hallway.
Yes.
Would it be anything where she could sniff under the doors? Try to see which ones have smells?
I honestly would say with the
Bastard.
18 perception, there are no fresh scents. Beyond these doors, there is no fresh scents.
Okay.
Anything before that was the hunters and a few scents of ones who had come and gone. But other than that, all you sense is death, decay, and mold. And dust. Lots of dust and cobwebs.
And what about up here?
The same.
She comes back, looks up at Irina, like trying to communicate to Irina, like I don't smell anything. She just like kind of like gives the lupin or the hyena equivalent of a shrug.
I mean, if anything came out of those rooms, if anything living were there, it's highly unlikely that it would have made it out, given the 3 skulls.
Ew.
Right, okay. So, sorry, I missed what you said there, Racer.
Given that there were the 3 skulls, there's probably nothing living beyond these 3 doors to the side. I mean, if they wanted to come through, they would have been blasted, just like that fellow.
Tamara's going to investigate this door that she's in her aggro next to.
What are you looking for?
She's going to look. She's going to very carefully look for any traps before opening it.
Roll investigation. Okay, you start having a look around the door and you don't notice anything.
She's going to very carefully open the door.
Are we opening all the side doors now?
I think it would be best that we don't get something behind us, Reister.
All right, you're right.
Make me a dexterity saving throw. No, I'm joking, you're alright, you're fine. I'm just teasing you. Eventually I won't be, but for now I am. So, stone blocks resembling tables stand in the center of this room covered in dust. Carved into the stone walls are niches filled with hundreds of dusty bottles, and cobwebs hang from wooden ladders that lean against the walls.
Found the brewing room.
Tamara's going to have a quick look at the bottles.
Okay.
Raga's gonna follow her.
Are you gonna just peer at them or take them off from their holders, or how you investigating them?
She's just gonna look and see if any labels she can identify.
Roll me perception.
Meanwhile, Haraga's gonna start sniffing the ground.
Okay. Perception from Haraga too.
Okay,
Samara,
I'm
as you
sorry.
start squinting around, you see that a lot of these potions were labelled at some point, but the decay and damp in the room has decayed the labels to the point where they are illegible. Haraga, you smell an absolute cornucopia of new scents. Chemical, herbal, mineral. Some scents you recognize as some of the delicious potions that you've been fed by the rest of the party sometimes. But that's very faint. There's an overbearing smell of sulfur as well, but that's mostly eking in from the corridor from the skulls.
She is trying to track the potion smell. She wants that.
It's a general smell around the room.
Oh. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Looks like a potion brewing room to me. Says Rice as he's peeking into the room from behind Samara.
Nothing, just making noises with a mosquito swarm that's still floating about.
Oh. Buzz. Haraga's gonna investigate further, sniffing her nose
Okay.
to the ground.
There's a ladder here and a ladder here. And great big stone tables.
She paws at the ladder. Moves past.
It wobbles when you touch it.
She ducks away.
Rocks slightly, stays upright.
Are you seeing anything useful in there?
I didn't see anything. All the bottles, any labels ever. Long since gone.
So you would have to identify them either by scent or by me doing again magic bullshit on each single one of them.
Yes, I don't think it'd be a good idea to risk that. Don't know how long they've been in there for a start.
Now, this room is dark. And although Samara does have dark vision, you can only see in shades of grey, which means it is very hard to see what precisely is inside these bottles. If you would like to examine them further, i.e. see the colour of anything that's inside it, you would need to light, basically set up a light source.
I think we should keep it as dark as possible in the room, such as to not upset any potions that have been affected. Maybe just a candle or two.
Well, don't you have your lantern?
All right. Yes, I can probably use that. Yes, he's taking a lantern and carefully lights it so as to not let too much light escape.
Well, it's a hooded lantern, so...
Yeah,
So
you can
yes,
basically control the light level.
but still, he's controlling the light level to be fairly low, but just on the edge of color vision, basically.
Fair.
Such as to not hopefully not ruin any potions that might be light sensitive. You never know what happens when light suddenly hits one of these.
Alright. So, now the room is lit up, you can have a better look at what is actually in these bottles now. If you want,
Okay.
roll perception. Okay. The vast majority of the bottles, their potion contents appear to have dried up because their corks have rotted and failed. So there's nothing but a residue at the bottom. There are a few potions that appear to still be sealed. However, they're not... The liquids inside are not as vibrant as any of the potions you currently have in the party's possession. I would say there is... Good roll. There are 4 potion bottles that you can identify as having a liquid in them.
I honestly don't think we should risk it.
So we just leave it.
I would say so, yes.
All right, then let's check the next room.
Raga?
And
Bear with
Rasta
me
makes his way.
half a sec. There's something I have to double check about this temple in general. Da, 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 da. You know, because it didn't put things here. Sorry about this, I just need to double check.
Oh,
Okay.
snap. I just realized, by the way, Jurnis,
Yeah?
Haraga has 1 level of exhaustion, so those should have all been even, not advantage. So
That is
I
true.
would assume, yeah, I just remembered that. I'm sorry. So we can just retcon it that she didn't really spell much since there wasn't a lot of useful information.
Fair.
Just want to make sure.
I can
Just
live with that.
sniffing around. I forgot. Sorry.
Okay. So that's dumb. But anyway, moving on. Let's not get into a criticizing match of Wizards of the Coast writing of dungeons anymore. So, what does the party do?
Rasta is going to door number 2 for traps.
Investigation. Okay, you sense no traps.
All right. Rasta carefully opens door number 2 and peers inside. Lantern currently not pointed inside. Huh.
Beyond, you see
Hallway.
a corridor with another doorway at the end.
Hallway. Want me to go? I know the answer. And yes, he says that out loud. Okay, he's going to check the second door.
You come across no mechanisms aside from the lock, which is
All right.
currently unlocked.
And he carefully opens the door.
Okay. Beyond, you see... You're doomed!
Oh, really?
The most dangerous of foes in Waterdeep, stairs, leading downward.
Found a staircase down. He goes back. Found a staircase down.
Oh, you guys, the staircase runs doom.
Where do these stairs lead? Yeah.
They lead down. So, do we check door number 3? Or do we go downstairs? And if so, why can't I hear anyone?
Because no one is speaking.
Yeah, Haraga's not even yipping. She's just like leaning into Samara's side, like all looking tired.
I think we need to... We should probably check the next door and then have a rest.
All right. Door number 3. Same song and dance.
Mm-hmm.
I see no traps, I presume.
No.
And he opens it.
Okay.
And you want me to roll a dexterity check?
No, you're fine.
A dex saving throw?
You're fine.
Yeah, I'm currently joking.
This time. So, in this room,
Right.
dominating the room is a 12-foot tall model of a dark castle with high walls and tall spires. Behind it, tucked in a corner, are some ruined furnishings and a wooden chest.
Okay, Rice slowly sweeps over the model of Castle Ravenloft. That's what the player assumes it is, and is trying to identify the castle.
As you step closer, that is indeed what this is. This is a model of Castle Ravenloft, and you know this because you were recently there.
Guys, I found a model of the Castle Ravenloft. Just found a model of Castle Ravenloft inside here. I see you're all very enthusiastic about it.
Haraga goes in and starts sniffing around, just like before.
I would say
Raga.
Ez would be very
Yeah.
interested in this and start looking around over it.
Yeah.
Just picture as being like, yeah, fuck this part and that part in particular.
Samara, if you want to face through the wall, just let us know.
Hang on a second. For some reason, I can. You have to bear with me a minute. Hang on. Also, he's not being very responsive at the minute.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's doing that for me too.
There we go. So, I'm gonna say, is this a table or is it a plinth?
It is a
Sort of
table
thing.
with a model of the castle on it.
So there's nothing under the table.
Nothing under the table. There is a wooden chest and some broken furnishings in the far side of the room.
Right. Samara is going to examine the model.
Okay. Are you looking for anything in particular?
She's basically looking for anything unusual.
Okay. You start looking around. Roll me an investigation.
Investigation.
As you look over it, doesn't appear to be anything out of the ordinary that you hadn't have already seen in your time when living at the castle. It is, however, a fantastic replica.
To figure out whether or not this is a recent one, you would have to check if the window that you broke while escaping from your uncle's clutches, in a way, from the boring life, whether or not that window is still intact or broken on this model.
Are you implying that any damage done to the castle will be done to the model and vice versa?
That is at least a hope of mine.
Do you want to look at the tiny window?
Yes.
We smashed the window at the end. We win.
You lean in to look at the window and see that it is carved of wood.
Well,
Actually, no, I'm so sorry. It is sculpted out of stone.
okay. So much for that idea. A man can hope, can't they?
That would have been fantastic if that had been true. We would have just thrown it off the balcony.
Just smash it open. Or put sun, basically an artificial sun in here.
The tiny little
Tear
star.
up the... sorry. But, yeah. Seems like I was a little bit... yeah. Too early to cry victory. It was worth a try, at least.
doing okay, Elaine?
Elaine is going to check the chest.
Sure. Go over.
He's going to quickly check it over for traps.
Roll an investigation. As far as you can see, there does not appear to be any mechanisms on the outside or around the hinges.
Okay, he's going to very carefully open it.
Okay. You open up the chest. Inside, you find an old map case.
Oh, a map case. He's going to take it out and open it up.
Remind me, what's your passive perception?
His passive perception is 15.
Okay. As you are lifting the the map scroll out of the chest, you kind of bump along the bottom, and it makes a hollow sound.
The chest or the case?
The chest.
Right, he's going to take out the map case and he's going to examine the chest again.
Need a hand?
Actually, no, with your passive perception, you'll be able to spot this easily enough. You tap along the bottom of the box, and there is a section in the middle that sounds hollow, and whenever you press, a little bit of the wood lifts up.
Okay. Master, do you want to go on?
I'll just do it if you don't mind. After all, that is what I do. Cold look over his shoulder to icy.
Elaine's going to step back with the map case. He's going to place it on the model so he can open it up.
And Rice is going to carefully work his magic with the false bottom.
Okay. And when you say work your magic, are you using any sort of tools, or are you just grabbing and pulling it open?
I would say we just take he's carefully taking 2 arrows and tries to lift the lid out that way, slipping them into small sections where there is a very, very small gap.
Okay. Well, like the whitest guy at a Japanese restaurant trying chopsticks for the first time, you make a very awkward display of managing to pry this out with the arrows. And it lifts away with no sign of any traps. However, underneath appears to be a rectangular object wrapped in a soft leather binding.
All right. That was the most awkward display ever. I should probably consider using thieves' tools instead in the future. And he takes out his pouch and basically tries to lift this leather-wrapped item.
It's pretty hefty. Once you get in there, you realize that it appears to be a book.
Yeah.
Elaine's going to open up the map case.
Okay. You open up the map case and you find plans of Castle Ravenloft. There appear to be several different versions, some of which are scored through, others which have notations on them. But at the bottom of each page there is page, 4 of 12, page 1 of 12, page 7 of 12. There's a lot of them missing.
I get the feeling we found Strahd's little pre-Ravenloft library.
In that case, Rice closes the lid of the box or the trunk and carefully opens the book.
Okay. You see written in beautiful flowing calligraphy, because I can say words. It says,
Calligraphy.
the Tome of Understanding. And as you move your fingers across its pages, you feel a slight tingle of arcane energy.
Looks like I found looks like you found a magic book, Elaine.
Hmm? Wait, do we all feel that, or just Elaine?
Just Reister, as he's the
just
one
Reister.
physically touching the book.
Oh, okay.
It's called the Tome of Understanding, according to its cover page.
Mm.
No,
Lane's gonna
don't
be-
take it like seriously that. Gods hate books of understanding.
Lane is going to carefully lay out the plans in front of him on the model, and then go. Perhaps if you use the term, we can work out exactly what we're looking at.
Thing is, I have no idea how to use this tome. Doesn't really come with a user's manual.
You could try and identify it if it's a magical item.
All right. What does the book say? Ding 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 ding
My
ding
God.
ding 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 ding. Reister looks very unenthusiastic while doing it.
I was gonna
What?
say you should give. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go on, Harago.
I was just gonna say you should give Reister advantage for that.
He doesn't really get advantage or disadvantage with the
Oh.
identify spell.
What does the book say?
Yeah.
Ding 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 ding
So,
ding.
while
ding,
Reister is
ding.
doing his little song and dance in the corner, does anybody else want to do anything?
Haraga has fallen asleep next to Samara. She curled up and flopped, and she's snoring.
I do think this room is rather
Haraga?
safe.
Would you be so kind as to roll me a wisdom saving throw?
Yes. She's snoozing away. 1 second, I'm trying to bring it up. She's tired.
Okay,
Oh dear.
noted. Anyone else want to
Oh
do anything?
no.
Ding ding
no.
ding 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 ding. I need a new song. Ding 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 ding.
Does anybody else want to do anything else while Reister is doing this for 10 minutes?
Nope.
I was going to ask Dennis, but Dennis isn't here. Zabornak arising?
No.
Okay.
I hate that I don't have this El Bimbo on the soundboard right now.
I really
know-
wish.
you know-
Sorry, go ahead.
You know, for the dance of exposition.
I'm just picturing Ez being like, "No, seriously, hurry up, Reister. That song, please."
Ding 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 ding.
Fucking fox
ding.
again.
What does the book say? Ding 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 ding
Fox, did
ding
you say?
ding. Ding 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 ding. I should have it soon. Can we just skip the rest of the song and dance
Yes,
routine?
you can, but first I had to send a whisper. So, after he makes a song and dance himself, you discover that this book is indeed a great magical artifact. This book contains intuition and insight exercises, and its words are charged with magic. If you spend 48 hours over a period of 6 days or fewer studying the book's contents and practicing its guidelines, your wisdom score increases by 2, as does your maximum for that score. For example, that means if you have level 20 wisdom, you can increase that to level 22 with this book. The
question
manual
is, which
then
one
loses its magic, but regains it in a century.
Have we
Some of us would benefit most from gaining more wisdom.
Who's needed a lot of wisdom?
Slowly turns to Haraga. I don't know if she can, if she knows how to read.
She has said out loud.
Asleep.
I will also say that she has said, I don't know whether they would remember Jurnis, but she has publicly said she can't read and doesn't really care about it.
Dang it.
Elaine tries. Both Elaine and Samara kind of try to avoid looking at Ed.
Yeah, Haraga is on her back with one of her legs twitching and she's snoring. She's got her head tipped to the side. You know how dogs do. She's up against the wall, like propped up, whimpering. Not upset whimpering, like wow, 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 wow.
Haraga. Take 4 points of psychic damage. You are now wide awake.
What's
Is
this
that how
round?
you yell?
Just-
Oh,
Yes,
4
Samara
points,
just-
not D4, sorry.
Yep.
Margot, what's wrong?
She shakes her head, she kind of like comes up against Samara's leg and nuzzles, and she kind of like sniffs evilly at the spot where she was sleeping.
Samara's going to examine the spot.
It's a patch of dusty ground that now has a Haraga imprint in the dust.
It would be easier if you could tell us what's wrong.
I don't know if they can tell what is. I'm going to send a message to Jurnis.
Fair enough, that is your decision.
Yeah. So she's like,
I'm gonna
You
try and roll
are
insight
able
with
to
Samara.
speak in this form. It's up to you whether or not you choose to.
she does not choose to.
Samara's going to try and insight.
From day one.
Sure, roll insight. Something appears to be bothering her, and considering how she jerked awake, you think she might have had a bad dream.
It's alright, I'm here.
She nuzzles up against Samara, like moving her head around, like bop, bop, boop, bop.
So yeah, now the question is, what do we do with the plants that you have, Elaine?
Well, I was hoping the book could have given us a bit more, but Elaine's going to try and study the plans to see where what similarities there are, what changes have been made.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Elaine. We should get moving.
I'm gonna make a roll before we get moving.
We were taking Elaine make an intelligence check to try and work out what's going on with the plans.
Actually, I did the wrong one. Sorry. Just
Sure,
give me a
roll
second.
investigation.
Ooh, so sorry, guys. That was for me. Oof.
Okay, damn it.
As far as you can tell, these are either early drafts or areas that you would already be able to see from the model top down. Anything of the interior of anything other than the ground floor is not here.
Elaine's going to very carefully put the plans back in the map case and then put the case in his bag.
Okay.
We can study these later.
Yeah, we should get a move on.
Okay. Bear with me a little second here. Perhaps we'd best move on.
I agree.
Yes, let's get going.
Haraga moves alongside Samara. She has this distracted look on her face, like she's thinking about bacon or something.
All right. So, moving on.
Yep.
Again, checking door. Again. Opening it.
Okay. You open the door.
Not caring if anyone or anything hears the door.
Bear with me, just let me get Ez in here as well. She's left behind. And bring a Specky. Okay.
Samara would have basically Samara would have tried to bring Haraga with them.
She'll keep going. She looks really distracted.
As you enter this room, let me just actually get something real quick that I forgot to put in here because I'm smart. Just put that there. Okay. Torches and stanchions illuminate a dining table in the center of the room. Covering the table is a magnificent feast that fills the hall with the rich smells of cooked meat, sweet vegetables, piping hot gravy, and sweet summer wine.
Elena's going to take one look and just go, "Oh, Grandma, what big teeth you've got."
This seems too good to be true.
Rashta checks the door. He doesn't even pay the room much heed.
There doesn't appear to be anything there.
I'm trying to move Haraga. I'm failing. Trying to get her to come with. I'm sorry.
Do you need me to move you out?
It's being really slow. I'm doing my best.
Alright,
Because,
there you are.
yeah, please move me.
There you are.
I can't do it. And then she's going to sniff around at the edge of the table. You know, she has no interest in that stuff. Look at that non-live food. Yuck.
Yeah, I think everyone's realised this is pretty much.
But she's trying to smell it to see what it smells like. Does it smell normal? Does it smell
It
stinky?
smells
What
like
does
a
it smell
delicious
like?
feast.
Rashta opens the door he's in front of now.
Okay.
Haraga's going to investigate this to see. Sorry, go ahead.
Now go on, Haraga. What were you saying?
She's going to investigate the table. She's going to get up on her haunches and sniff real deep and see if she smells anything other than the delicious feast.
Roll me a perception check.
Some critter in there or something. She doesn't like this. This is weird. There's just food here. That seems strange to her. Disadvantage because she's.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's even because she's.
You start squinting around the table, and in the very center, you notice a green copper ear. It is embossed with images of dancing bears, elks, and wolves, and it has a very sweet smell coming from it. Something that almost smells like fresh prey to you.
Ooh, Haraga starts sniffing big at it. Fresh prey. She's not talking. She's just sniffing and moving closer. She's trying to resist it, but it's so good.
Are you guys coming?
Fresh prey is her favorite thing, so, Sniff, sniff.
Okay. Register, do
What'd you say it was a
ignore
green what?
ear, a pitcher?
Oh, a pitcher.
Haraga,
Uh-huh.
don't touch anything on the table.
Sniff, sniff at the pitcher. Sniff, sniff at the pitcher. Tap, tap at near the pitcher. Tap, tap. Not on it, just near it. He's not disobeying. He's being good.
Are you guys coming, or are you going to drag your feet?
Mm,
Yes, ignore the obviously magically enchanted or fake food. And come over to the door.
mhm. She goes. Do I have to roll anything?
Are you just following their instructions and leaving?
Yeah, I see. Can I see command her? I wasn't sure.
Rasta
No.
can't.
However,
No, but-
Arena is just making a go and said, "They're right, Haraga. It's probably best to leave things be. Surely you're still full from that wolf."
She yips. She actually yips at Irina, and she's talking in wolf talk, but I'm gonna whisper what she says. And I'm because she's and I actually Icy would know too, wouldn't?
Yeah, anyone who
So I'll
speaks
just
like
say
him
it.
would understand this.
I'll just say it then, and we can avoid the typing. She says, "But the green thing smells so good. It smells like fresh prey. Look, look, look." Maybe that's what the dream thing was talking about. She's just woofing though.
What dream thing, Haraga?
He looks over at the this and she goes, she says, the dream thing, it called me Mighty Hunter, and you watch as Haraga puffs up and her shoulders go up and she's all looking proud and she says,
When
It
you're
says-
done playing with the puppy, can we please?
That doesn't smell like fresh prey to me.
And then she says, it says Mighty Hunter. It says the hunt of the strong for the weak. It says the hounds are coming. I'm hungry again.
We have to move quickly.
Hang
So
on.
please stop your playing.
Now, Reister, shut up for a moment, for God's sake. Has anyone else been hearing things? Haraga just said she's been hearing voices. I heard something in that room with the model castle.
Can I have the green thing, Irene?
To be
My
honest,
uncle's patrons.
yes. It's urging me on. It's egging me on. It's telling me. It told me to get a move on. That's why I'm so tense right now.
Haraga is slowly going
sorry.
back to the table to sniff the green thing again.
Haraga, don't. We can't. You're all telling me we can't trust them.
They told me that if I linger anymore, I can't help my beloved.
New
Leave
rule.
the creatures who are responsible for the mists.
New rule, folks. Don't believe any disembodied voices. I think it's a
Haraga-
very straightforward good rule.
Haraga looks back at Irina Inez and says, I didn't understand what it was telling me. It was being weird. I just want that green thing. That smells really good.
I think that might be messing with your senses, Haraga. Because when I smell that, I smell sweet syrup, not fresh prey.
It smells like rabbits.
What
Right.
are you talking about? This old green thing
Oh no.
smells like mother's cooking.
Well, that's obviously a magical trap then. If it all smells to something we
Blade.
enjoy,
Elaine is just going to use Reeve. He's basically going to summon Reeve in the whip form and just whip it off the table.
Oh no.
Okay.
Basically, do it to make sure that he's not within range or anything that could go wrong. So he's like 10 feet away when he does it.
As you do
As
it,
I just stand back.
the ear splatters to the ground over here, spilling a small amount of liquid out of it. But as it leaves the table, the feast disappears. There's now nothing on the table except old, dusty, and somewhat cracked silverware and plates.
See? It's all fake. Now, about the store.
Again, I'm sorry that I've been... It's hard not to give in to someone who's telling you to hurry the fuck up to save your girlfriend.
It's possible it could be trying to rile you up so you make a mistake, Reister.
Exactly. They've already made an offer to me.
It's possible.
Believe me, if I were to enter into an offer into them, I would make sure to very carefully examine the terms.
Well, still, we need to press on.
Agreed.
And Reister opens the door.
Okay. The door opens. Let me see. Number 2. The black marble balcony overhangs the northwest corner of the temple. Northwest? Northwest. The floor of which lies 30 feet below, so just at the edge of your dark vision. Nearly half of the balcony has fallen away, and obvious cracks have formed near its ragged edge.
I thought you said east. What kind of compass you reading?
Dyslexia. That brand.
Well, now that Icy sees the statue, she's going to poke it with a firebolt.
Okay. Your firebolt ricochets off the side. Well, it doesn't ricochet. It impacts on the side of the statue. Were you aiming at a specific part or just center of mass?
Yeah, center mass. Make sure it hits.
Okay. It hits. There's a spark. And now you can, just at the edge of your dark vision, see a scorch mark on the stone. Nothing else seems to happen.
Well, it doesn't exactly prove that that's where the fireballs were coming from. Take one step inside the room.
Yes, same. I think I see something just on the edge of my sight.
Just let me bring a specky up here so we can see.
And Reister very, very carefully aims his beam of light just so he catches the corner of this slit.
It appears
This arrow
to be
slit.
an arrow slit.
Yes.
There's a door.
If someone were to send a fireball, cast fireball through that, might look like it came from the statue itself, maybe. However, that's just a hypothesis. I can't guarantee it's true.
Let's check out this door. Also, it's been about 3 hours. Do we want to continue?
It's up to you guys. Do you just want to continue a little bit more, or do you want to pick this up next week?
Yeah, we can continue on a little bit more.
I want to continue.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, that's fine with me.
All right.
excited.
Rice is taking a good look at the door. Investigation, I would say. He's looking for traps after all. He sees that there is either a trap or no trap at
Bear with me.
with this 26th.
You sense no traps.
All right.
However,
Eh.
I would like Elaine and Samara to make me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Yeah, but
Okay.
something from over here. Over here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The side of the
I
room.
forgot
Oh,
to
good
say.
God!
How?
So, as you
Snake eyes once again.
step on to the balcony, you hear rock splitting and crumbling as the balcony crumbles and both Elaine and Samara plummet 30 feet to the darkness below.
Oh no!
I would like you to both take, what was it? It's 1d6 per 10 feet fallen, so 1, 2... So take 12 points of bludgeoning each.
Oh, fuck.
I'm just gonna take you guys off the map. Because you are now pretty far down. And you know what? I think that's a good place to leave. With two of your party members disappearing to the floor below.
Fuck.
Don't make Haraga jump in the darkness.
Yeah, we'll see. So,
Oh well, they're gone. Moving on.
Aww.
Mister, open the door. Go.
so play the game.
Really don't know.
Everybody did
Honestly,
a good job.
I'm gonna give it these collectively for the dealing with the flaming skulls, because that was very.
Yeah, that was great teamwork.
Yeah.
I'm actually genuinely impressed that you figured out that they couldn't leave that room.
Seems fairly obvious, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give that to you guys collectively.
Yay!
Fail of the game.
At.
I mean, we just had it, didn't we?
Yep. So, are you all liking your new friends?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of my head.
I will confess to you. I will confess to you what I told Creature privately. Haraga has no idea what the voice meant. And she didn't realize she was dreaming. Because she didn't realize she fell asleep. So she just heard the voice and was like trying to figure it out. Her best conclusion so far is that someone was inviting her to have a bowl of fresh rabbit. Completely lost. The stuff that it was said to her was just completely lost on her. She was like, She did not understand.
That's so fun. Oh, and that reminds me. Who was the first to pick up the staff?
That would have been Rice doing identification.
Yeah.
Okay, so Racer first picked up the staff. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Why? Is Rice now completely stupid?
No. It's just needed to get a point of order ever. And use moved the ear. Use didn't toy with the castle. Use found the scrolls. Use wisely opted not to play with the potions. This dungeon's gonna be fun.
Once we
I was gonna point out you
don't-
still have like a couple of dozen mosquitoes buzzing around.
They better stay away from Haraga. They keep snapping at her jaw because of the blood. She's annoyed. Biting at him every so often. Poor Haraga's having a time. She
Yep.
wants to sleep.
No.
She's tired. She had a meal. She wants to relax, and they're all like running around and stupid books and more food being offered that you can't eat, and Irina giving orders. It's all a big mess.
Somebody drop down a rope.
Oh.
What do you think I
Oh,
intend to
you're
do as soon as we're...
assuming you're alone down there.
I was just
That's
picturing like,
cute.
sorry. I picture Elaine saying that and Haraga throwing down a corded up, tied up rope. It's all just wrapped. It's just like she doesn't tie the other end. She just throws it down.
Not helping.
All right then. So,
Why didn't I turn into a bat?
questions, comments, or theories?
Yes, Jurnis. Who are the voices and what is going on?
Oh, Icy knows the voices very well.
You have confused Haraga greatly. She does not understand.
Anyone else?
Voices are our friends. Don't worry about them.
If
they were our friends, they wouldn't
some
stop.
of those whispers I've been sending you guys, so there we are. Some of them are smarter
they
than
were-
others.
If they were our friends, they wouldn't try to push our buttons.
I don't know what you're talking about. Mine just offered me some fresh rabbit that you said I couldn't have.
Oh, that's not what that voice was implying. But anyway, so with that, I think we'll go down the list. It's going to be a good night from me. It's going to be a good night from the summoner of buzzy assholes, creature.
Good night, suckers.
A good night from the full-bellied Yeen, Haraga.
Good night, everyone. Don't drink from strange goblets. And wash your freaking hands and wear a mask. We're still in the middle of a pandemic.
I was expecting you to say wash your paws, but that's fine too. A good night from the cranky half-elf. Leister.
Good night, everyone.
A good night from Grabby Paws. Icy.
Grabby claws.
Grabby Claws, my apologies. That was
Good night, everyone.
That was absolutely adorable. I love that so much. I kind of want to see it. And lastly, a good night from the Noble Paladin and the Bloodsucker. Sephi.
What a pair of dropouts.
Which are now one floor down.
Yep. I made it very clear.
One floor down.
It's crumbling.
Floor level -1. Darkness, despair, helplessness, and lingerie.
Oh, alright then, guys. So, we'll leave that there. And we'll come back to this in 2 weeks, because next week we are going back to Icy's delightful water temple, where we will probably get killed by a boss.
Yay!
Come on, I'm not that cruel. I gave you 2 checkpoints.
You did.
2 hit points.
Give us a ridiculous amount of spell scrolls. You are a very kind and generous DM. Unlike me and Dennis, who are vindictive evil bastards who will destroy the characters that you love.
Oh, you and Dennis will physically destroy characters. I prefer to do it mentally.
You turned Irina into a smear on the ground.
That is true. That is true.
I lead.
Anywho, with that.
And everyone's always pointing at.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.